Alrighty, good morning everyone. Pharrell here out of Portland, Oregon. Flow Roofing, not to be confused with Tennessee's Flow Roofing. I text Phil once in a while, and Phil really is one of the more quality roofing contractors I feel like in the country. And we connected. I think he reached out, or I might have commented on one of his posts. He's an amazing metal guy, and they do quality asphalt as well over there in Tennessee. But we had gone back and forth just as like reassurance for each other. Like he wants to operate as Flow Roofing, I want to operate as Flow Roofing, and he had owned the .com, which I knew about since I started the business, and but I went and doubled down on the trademark, which is absolutely necessary as well. And I don't know if there'll be a world where we share those pieces of information, hopefully someday, but the dude is such a quality representation of the brand Flow Roofing, even though he's got a different logo. I would be doing a disservice to think about anything else, but I know he's gotten Portland calls in Tennessee, and I believe we even got a couple calls from Tennessee people being in Portland. And so it's kind of funny. You think, oh shit, like, a couple thousand miles away, there's no chance, but it still happens. So the purpose of this video is to really kind of lay down the services that we focus on at Flow Roofing Portland, and to explain a lot of our approach in that. And so ever since I started with gutters, basically doing the small things well was a valuable asset to clients, even though it wasn't reciprocated in the receipt value of the service. Like gutters is kind of a bottom of the barrel service. Then you get into roof repairs, is still not a lot of roofing companies want to deal with it because they don't think it's worth their time. Well, when I started Flow, I needed things to be full service because the requests that were coming in, every third request, half the requests or more, are, can you repair it? Can you get me by? Can you extend the life of my system? I don't want to buy a replacement. And so no one should have to buy a roof. Unfortunately, roofs age. Time is a BOZ. And excuse my French. Time, it goes by way faster than we think. Anyway, I'm not going to get metaphysical. We're going to keep it about roof repairs, roof maintenance, restoration, and replacement. So we call ourselves full service. Full service meaning that we'll do your small repair. We'll do your small maintenance. We have in-house teams to take care of the repair, the gutter cleaning, the moss treatment, the moss removal, gutter installation, all the way through. If we need to, we can qualify flat roofs in the commercial space to see if they're a restorable system. That requires a series of qualification steps that we take to make sure the roof is going to be warrantable, both from a workmanship standpoint, but make sure that the products are going to last properly. And then we look at replacement as like a last alternative. So we say that we want to take the minimum viable solution approach, which is really just to make sure that we're building trust with clients so they know that we're not selling them shit they don't need, right? We want to give you what we believe is in your best interest at a quality with a warranty on it to make sure that everyone can sleep good at night, right? We stand by our work. We planted the flag, the shop here locally off the highway to make sure that people could look to a beacon of hope for a company that was trying to do the right thing by making sure that they were going to be there through thick and thin. And we shoot for 6-star experiences on the communication, the workmanship side, the products that we install. Obviously we're not perfect by any means, but like if we continue to get better every day, we train the teams, we continue to make the customer experience as smooth and flowing as possible, then by the time you've gotten done with your experience, it should be like, oh shoot, that was easy. I like going with the flow. That was no problem. It felt like I was riding on their wave, And so that we call it the flow tsunami, and the wave gets incrementally better with the more clients that we help out. And in the Pacific Northwest, we're blessed by the abundance of liquid sunshine that falls from the clouds, and that really helps show people, like even you hear like in mid-May and it's dumping out, like people even get to see into the summer. This is kind of a wet summer already. I can tell it's going to be a short season, but it really helps open people's eyes to issues that otherwise wouldn't be found maybe for 6 months in different markets or more, right? So that being said, I don't think we're going to even touch triple-digit precipitation this year, but so full service. Repairs, we don't work on every roof, okay? So we are asphalt, metal, and membrane. Pretty simple, but membrane doesn't mean EDPM, right? Doesn't mean mod bit. It's TPO PVC, okay? We've moved away from the 2-ply, 3-ply systems with like the old-fashioned torch down name, and even the peel and sticks, because they're just such a short-term solution, right? Like they are going to have so many different seams. They don't have ponding warranties or standing water warranties. The products just don't last as long. Asphalt's a model that the manufacturers created. Like, granted, there was technology breakthroughs and stuff back in the day, but the manufacturers all created these asphalt products to get people into this cheap solution, even though there's quality asphalt products, but like generally cheaper than many of the other solutions. Talk about metal, right? Like your metal pricing package is going to be somewhere between $600 and $800 a square just for the material on your install, and then you got your labor, your disposal, then everything else. So your asphalt though on average is going to be somewhere now like jumping between $200 and $450 a square if you're going triple laminate, right? So we're talking full system too, right? We're not just square pricing, right? So that being said, the model of your asphalt manufacturers is to sell more shingles. So why would they want to make a better product? They're going to sell less product in the long term. So, they brought out these 50-year warranties, which are designed on paper to get them out of the warranty, right? So if you don't use all their accessories, if you don't maintain their roof, if you don't follow their install guidelines, if you don't transfer your warranty properly, then you're SOL, okay? So the asphalt game is a monopoly, and those guys are hiring the biggest, brightest minds in the world to make sure that everything is in their best interest. They're not looking out for the consumer. They just want to sell more shingle, right? So unfortunately, that's the world we live in, right? But shingles also are some of the easier repairs. They're some of the easier maintenance. They're going to have a shorter lifespan, but overall, still, it's a water shedding product. It's not a waterproofing product, okay? So you can repair these systems, you can maintain these systems. There's no restoration option in the shingle. So yes, there is, but it's a sham, okay? I can't even, like, I don't even name him, but like the nano shit, like, oh, we got the nanotechnology is going to restore and add 10 years to your roof. Bullshit, okay? It's sunscreen for your roof. It sounds so stupid. Like, I mean, anyway, what are you gonna void their warranty when something goes wrong? You try to repair their roof, but you got this like film on the thing, it doesn't even work, right? So, they're just selling you guys bullshit. If you have issues with your roof, you need to consider like just taking care of it from the beginning, right? So, all that being said, repair, maintenance, restoration, and replacement is the full service gamut. It's really system dependent again. So we don't do EDPM roofs. We don't do green roofs. We don't do mod bit, no torch, no 2-ply, 3-ply. We've moved away. We've refined our systems to be the master of 1.5 roofs and gutters with relation to shingles, metal, and membrane. It makes it pretty simple. When we know we can knock it out of the park, that's why we stick to those options. And they're the bulk of all the roofs anyway, right? So there's a bunch of different information you can get from these systems to make sure that you can actually, one, restore the roofs properly on the flat roof side of things. You can I would say you can even do some pretty awesome repairs on certain metal applications in the industrial side with flute fillers and stuff. But I mean, let's keep things a little bit simple here. So maintenance, we do maintenance, right? That's your gutter cleaning, that's your moss removal, that's your moss treatment, that's your roof cleaning on the flat roof side. That's going to be your annual inspections, your penetration reseals, all the things that are necessary to making sure that your buildings are within a warrantable state, right? And so we usually see in the commercial side of things that at least that property owners, property managers, whoever's dealing with decision making on the property, they don't have any record of the roof maintenance. They have barely any record of any sort of repair history over time. And so generally, like in the Portland market, we're seeing some horrific scenes. We got multiple layers in a lot of cases. We've got lack of seismic considerations. There's generally always budget concerns, right? So like roofing is probably the next most expensive trade, at least in the new construction side, besides concrete, the foundation. And so those are oftentimes treated as commodities, at least when, our GCs, they're always looking out for their best margins. So they want to make sure they're getting proper value, which means they need to have the best spread on their projects, which generally means, and this is why the economy is trended downwards in workmanship and quality materials, is because, capitalism has decided that the cheapest price wins on the new construction side, which generally means, can I get the best price for the cheapest materials with the best warranty? And if you can come out with a product like Hardy, that's a quality product that lasts a long time, but your installer is getting cutthroat and willing to go and whatever I'm not a siding guy, I don't know anything about siding, but I know windows, but that GC is going to be, well, he's $2,000 cheaper on this wrap. Like, why would I want to do anything else? Like, I'm going to go with this guy. And then your relationships in that game to reliably give them just increasing value with bigger projects. Well, you get the guy in on the small project. Well, I got this bigger project here. What can you do for me there? It's like, they're throwing a carrot at you in new construction. And that's... Now they have their own specs they got to follow on the new construction side. I know we're getting off topic here, but new construction is a completely different animal. We don't dabble too much in it. Select relationships, we'll look at it. We're primarily remodel, restore. We've got a couple new construction clients that we know that we can keep their margin healthy, and they know they can get a reliable install and basically jump to the front of the line for installs if they wanted. But those relationships are few and far between, and they're developed over the years. They don't just happen overnight. We do have some accelerated roof programs, though. I'll have to talk about it in a different video. They're more for the real estate transactions out there. But so repair, maintain, repairs to membrane and metal. Now, you cannot repair a 2-inch mechanically locked metal panel on a 112, right? So that's a permanent system. You'd have to replace the entire section. I've seen some tools, that can actually rip the fold off on the 2-inch, and but then you have warranty concerns. At this time, my teams are not prepared to try and dive into cutting that seam off and refolding it, so we do not repair the 2-inch mechanically locked fasten. Now, if you got a snap lock system, those are your repairable systems. We just had a client come through the other day that, can you panel match this? And you can generally go panel by panel, remove and repair those systems, and they're going to be more durable anyway. But so we can do the repairs on the metal, and the membrane in the PVC as well. TPO and PVC is dependent on the age of the system. We've ran into these older PVC systems that, 25 years roughly. They're 5 years or so over their warrantable period. No maintenance history, lack of repairs. They're just throwing shit at the wall and they want it to stick. And what can you do? And they're looking at giant complexes and they can't afford things. So we have to have a budgetary conversation, right? And so that way they're prepared for what's to come. We have found ways to do repairs, and we've had honest conversations. We have to slip the new membrane under the old just to get fresh contact with a good surface to be able to create solid welds. Not something we like to do because there's little frays, there's cracking, like the roof needs to be replaced, but they're just, and you put them in a situation where you do the repair, but you can't warranty it because you tell them, like, these are the pictures you see. The manufacturer gets involved. I love this. And tells them, like, hey, your roof is fucked. Like, and they still don't listen. Like the pictures, it's like people don't believe roofers. It's an uphill battle at every turn because it's kind of sight unseen. You even provide pictures. You provide a quality education experience. You do everything you can to get qualified by manufacturers with training and the best crews to give you people the best experience possible. And there's still resistance. You don't know what you're talking about because I haven't seen it. Let me go get 20 different estimates, etc. So repairs on the metal, the membranes, the shingles as well, your prezzies and your single laminates, your metal, your membranes, and then you get your maintenance related items. More so on the flat roof side, you're going to have the NDL considerations around making sure that penetrations are nice and tight. You need those records for your warranty as well. Keeping your drains clear, make sure your seams are tight, especially after winter. You don't want anything to pop. You don't want a small repair on your RTUs, your HVAC, from a dude dropping a tool to create an issue that has a bigger scope down the road because it was a simple screwdriver poke, but it spreads in the ISO, creates saturation, and you have like a $2,000 to $10,000 repair depending on the damage, versus what could have been found at the time if you just had a roofer follow your HVAC guy to make sure that the roof is good afterwards, and you could save thousands. So we see a lot of those small repairs happening on maintenance as well, especially like to be following around for tenant improvements on the commercial side. What else? And then so restoration is only qualified on a per roof basis. On the commercial side, not every roof is qualified. We're looking at layers, we're looking at decking type, we're looking at insulation, saturation, detail. We're making sure that manufacturers give us a thumbs up. All that has to happen. Most importantly, too, in the say everything does look good, we need adhesion tests. What's our pull test rating to make sure that material is sticking on the roof well, right? So, and then we do all these steps ahead of any consideration of replacement, right? So back to the uphill battle of people not believing roofers, we just want to make sure you can trust your roofer flow. Is that we're not trying to sell you something you don't need. We're exhausting all the solutions before we even have the conversation. And we'll have maybe more of a commercial focused video at some point that dabbles with those conversations. We've got a talk with a panel of engineers coming up next week where we're going to be educating the panel on repair and maintenance approach for specific systems that we work on, that we're qualified to talk about. And that's going to allow us to make sure that we can build trust, to be a better part of the community, to make sure that we're not missing anything, that we can answer their questions too. They come at us with great questions and we get better answers, and we get to share those with you. So it's a nice circle that we have with our GCs and everyone else. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and cut it, get ready for the team to come in. We got some spec training to do as well on a targeted repair system on an apartment complex to make sure that project manager is up to speed. And then everything else. We got 4 more team members we got to onboard here in the next couple of weeks. I'm shopping for 6 to 8 more trailers. We're hearing about these other projects coming through now, and I'm dealing with the chute's got an issue. That chute's less than a year old, and the manufacturer's like, this and that. And I'm like, okay, dude, like, I drove 60 hours. That's another story. I drove 60 hours across the country for that last summer for one specific project. And I was like, this is like part of the journey. It's like, I'm going to go after this thing, and it's like the secret weapon, and now I don't care. But it's like, the chute's not working. They say it's some sort of fuse issue, and they sent in an electrician, which is nice. They complimented the electrical service, but it's kind of frustrating. And then we're going into projects where that thing's going to be used for 4 months straight. I can't handle not having that piece of equipment on site. It's an asset to us. It speeds up projects. It protects the ground covering. OSHA loves it. Like, it is it's expensive. First off, I'll tell you that. But like, anyway, we'll catch up more here soon. I want to keep you guys filled in. It's going to be a long ride here this summer, but it's also going to be going quick, and so we're going to make it smooth so we can flow together, and ultimately so that way everyone can jump on ship and ride the wave, all the different things. But I'll just keep blabbering if we keep going, so I got to stop the video. We'll catch up on the next one. Okay, guys, have a good one. Take care.